Yeah,
So,
so
what games have you worked on?
that's a good question. We have bikers. That's probably the one that's most widely known. The one that's playing over your right shoulder, Dougie Do.
Yeah.
That's got music on it. Quad Dragon, that's got half the tunes on that are mine.
Yeah.
And Remy Sharp did a Go Mummy, or O Mummy, did he call it? It was a new version of an earlier game, shall we say? And that's got some Egyptian style music on it. I've done a couple of things for Paul Weller, where he's not the Paul Weller, the other Paul Weller, who did
It's like, what?
and yeah, so he had some atmospheric music I did for some stuff of his, and I've got something else that I'm working on for him at the moment. And there was a game, what was it called? Next Shift.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah, that was good fun.
Yeah, that's got my music on it as well.
Ah, right, okay. I didn't realise that one was one of yours as well. Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few. And there's one, Zeno Brigade, is it called? That's really rude. I can't remember what the name of the game is.
Oh, do you know? That's is that a bit? Is that bit soft, bit map soft or something? I'm trying to think what they're called. Yeah.
We'll put the game around somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
I don't own that one actually. Yeah, I don't. That's one that I don't own. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got my music as well.
Yeah, so. And they're all for the Specky Next, aren't they?
All for Specky Next. Yeah.
Are there any other systems that you've wrote music for at all?
Sam Coupe. I used to have lots of messing around on E-Tracker, and if you look online, you can find some of my tunes still on websites. We can probably find a link for that after this is over. And I did lots back when I was a kid on the Spectrum 128 on +3 Basic. I mean, I know Carter USM, don't they? I think they famously use the Spectrum for their backing track. So we were sort of a bit inspired by that. And first of all, we started off using the AY chip. Then we got the MIDI cable, and using the play command from Basic, we were sitting there trying to remake the Prodigy, me and my mate Mark. Yeah. We discovered some nice little tricks on my cheap Yamaha keyboard. Like, you use the pitch bend on the drums, they go up, and then you can play them twice as fast. They sound like the sample.
Right.
So you can do some nifty tricks, you know.
Yeah.
It's good fun. Out of space on the +3, that was a thing.
So, are there any projects that you're working on at the moment that you'd like to talk about?
Yes. So the big one we're working on at the moment is TX 1696.
Oh yeah.
With Patricia from Lucky Redfish, and we're going for an old school 90s dance feel for the soundtrack.
Nice.
To make it feel like I think we probably all played Project X on the Amiga. It's got that sort of feel to it, I think. And a bit more of a modern twist to some of that stuff as well. There's a bit of drum and bass and things like that in the feel of the tracks, I think. Awesome. Yeah, so that's good fun. We have separate music on every level. It's all going to be digital audio. So it's going to sound good, and I hope it sounds good. Hope people think it sounds good. Yeah, so that's coming soon. We've got the test code to play the audio. We think we've got the CPU time to play the audio. We're going to try and do digital effects at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if that's going to work, if I'm brutally honest.
Okay.
Just at the moment, we're doing the audio by cycling a buffer and using a CTC interrupt to play audio every so many milliseconds and put a new number on the bus. And that's fine because we're loading that from disk and that goes round and round in a circle. And when the file finishes, that's okay. To do digital effects, we have a choice of how we can do it. We can either load the effects into memory, into RAM permanently throughout the course of the game, and then play them from there. That might work, but memory's tight, and I know Patricia's trying to get it so it works on a 1 meg next.
Yeah. Okay.
If not, the alternative is to take it from the SD card, like we are for the soundtrack audio, and run that into a buffer. It depends how much the lag is on that, because obviously that will double the read time for the SD card. You'd have different files being read at the same time, and if that gives you bumpy performance, that's no good, because what you're looking for when you play audio back really is to have performance that stays on the same level. So you don't, in some ways it's better that it's always slightly slower but always the same speed every frame, than you having code that is fast most of the time and occasionally does something big and slows everything down. So you want everything to be smooth, and the same goes for this. So if you end up with the buffer being read for the music at the same time as the buffer was being read for the sound effect, then you end up with a lump in performance potentially.
Yeah.
So we have to see how it behaves in real life. It might not be a problem. If not, that's great. The alternative is to fall back to AY chips, which in some respects is good. They sound good for things like gun shooting and stuff like that, and explosion noises you can do fairly well on it. It wouldn't be able to do some of the tricks like maybe sampled speech that we were thinking of doing, some of the weapon choices and things like that. So we'd have to see how that works in real life. But maybe we could do something on the fly for that as well. It's all in progress in that respect.
Yeah. So do you think AY chips for the sound effects and then maybe the SD card for the speech? Was that possible?
So we just got to see how it works out in terms of performance of the game, because the last thing we want to do is make the game a worse experience for the person playing it for the sake of some samples.
Game on!
I'm wondering if the original SD card that you had with the Next is fast enough, because I don't think that's a 10, is it? I don't think it's a 10 speed.
It's fast enough. It's fast enough. The limit is definitely the Spectrum, not the.
Oh, okay. It's nothing to do with the SD card.
Yes, no, nothing to do with the SD card. It's over my right shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that?
Yeah.
So if I you can see on the screen there, you can see the green and red lines.
Yeah.
Green line to the CPU time to play the audio.
Okay.
So, and the little green and blue flashes you see at the top, they're loading from the SD card. So they're tiny compared to what it's actually using. And it's loading 512 byte lumps, so it doesn't cause any lumpy performance again.
Yeah.
Because again, and we stop that before it triggers Google, YouTube's.
I was just going to say, yeah, the copyright strike.
Yeah.
Nice bit of 9-inch nails there.
yeah. We'll stop that before it goes off.
Yeah.
But you can see there that we're loading in 512 byte chunks, which is actually slower overall than loading big chunks and just playing them back, and then loading a big chunk and then playing that back, because we want the smooth performance. So every frame we get the same amount of time delay and not different time delays that go up and down.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it really is going to be impressive, isn't it? Really is.
Yeah, the attention to detail, I think, that has gone into it. I mean, everything's been rethought and recoded several times, hasn't it? And that's something both you and I have seen. It's when somebody rethinks the same level 3 times and rewrites the same thing again and again because they're not quite happy with it, and they are perfectionists and they want it to play as good as it looks.
Yeah,
which is really important. You know, you've all seen Shadow of the Beast when it came out, and it looked fantastic, and after 10 minutes you were bored.
Yeah, I've always said it's the game that you put on for your mates to impress them and say, "Oh, look what my Amiga can do." But they'd be like, "Oh, can I have a go?" "Oh, no, let's put something else on." Yeah.
It's like when you went around the mate's house when they first got PCs and they put the Doom demo on. That was the same thing.
Yes, yeah. Doom, Duke Nukem, yeah, Castle Wolfenstein, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They didn't actually own the games, just the demos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a shareware, wasn't it, back then? Yeah, shareware. Yeah, which was a
shareware demo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was a brilliant way of doing it. It really was. It's something you don't get anymore. Too much of this grabbing.
It's the same thing, isn't it? You know, you see the demo, you play it, and then you pay for the real thing. In that case,
yeah. But
if you go and download something online, it's like, oh, pay for this bit and pay for this bit. It's the same thing, it's extended, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah. I preferred the demo and then buy the full game afterwards. Yeah. It was the package that you got as well. Whereas now you're paying for fresh air, aren't you? I know you can get in a game. I understand that, but I like the tactile feel, the opening the box, the smell, the manual, the physical media. Yeah, that I really miss that. But there are still some sites that are doing physical media, and luckily with the whole 8-bit and 16-bit revival, if you like, people are putting the time into to do these nice special editions for us. Yeah,
well, I think it's really. I mean, we did one for bikers, and it was fantastic. And Andy put a lot of work into creating the special edition, and he said to me, "Would you like to do an audio CD of all the tracks that are on the game?"
Yeah.
So on the actual game, it's AY.
Yes.
Only one AY because we didn't have enough CPU time to do more than one. So when I went back and sequenced it, I did it all on the Atari with all the keyboards and synths that I'm surrounded with, and yes, it changes the character of them, and it's interesting because actually I was looking on SoundCloud, which is where I share my music from. And I put it on Spotify and all the other sites from there. And it picked up that people who'd used the bikers soundtracks were showing off their motorbikes, which was interesting. So somebody had pulled the audio and used it to actually put on a video of a motorbike. And I thought, they've obviously taken that at face value and not associated with the computer game at all. So that was a nice feeling.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, actually, could looking back at it now, Could you have used your music that you produced for your CD to run while the game was on now using that technique you've just showed us?
Yes, I think that's
Yeah.
possible. We'd have had to have found some CPU time,
Yeah.
but actually we found some CPU time actually later on because to make it work for the NTSC editions because they use more CPU per frame if you think about it as a percentage.
Oh,
So
okay.
anything that runs off the frame interrupt
Yeah.
takes more CPU time. So you need more CPU time to run under an NTSC to get the what's the word, the frame rate consistent.
Oh, okay.
So we found a few extra frames between me and Andy having a play with how it used DMA, and we found we could shave a few bytes off, and that was enough to, because he used the DMA a lot, create a big speed increase that he could then use to find spare space. So you can find space in these things, but you have to chase it.
Yeah.
Cramming it in, and of course you have to be able to spare the CPU time because all those green lines, you can see they're small compared to the red lines, but they are still a percentage of time. So 10% of the CPU is still a lot if you're using it heavily anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant.